Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and I've got news. Good news. So, there's another console that's going to enter the marketplace. I don't know when, there's no date on it yet, but it's going to enter the marketplace and compete with the Xbox and the PS4, I guess I'll call it. So, here's the deal. There's a company called Valve. Gamers know of Valve probably already. They make games, right? They've known for Left 4 Dead, they're known for the Portal series, they're known for the Half-Life series, and a bunch more. And they're also known for Steam, right? What Steam does is it allows you to download games if you're a PC player off the internet and then play those. Gamers like it a lot because one of the things they do right is that they get the pricing right. If you go to Target or Walmart, they tend to keep the AAA titles at their full $60 for way too long, whereas Steam sort of keeps their pulse on the community and charges more appropriate prices, and they run sales and things like that. So gamers like them for that reason and the convenience that they bring compared to a brick and mortar store. Gaming developers like them too, and they like them for a couple of reasons. One, they keep a bigger chunk of the profits when they distribute through Steam than they do when they distribute through Walmart, Target, GameStop, etc. And also, it completely destroys the used game market because that game is downloaded, installed on your PC. It's not something that you can resell. So they come with a lot of political capital, both on the customer side, us, and on the game developer side, which is good because political capital helps all the time. So they're coming out with a new console, and the console, there's some rumored specs on there. I'm seeing an i7 core, which is way faster than anything we have in consoles right now, Sandy Bridge processor. Then I'm seeing graphics done by NVIDIA, right? There's a really strong company that they do that. And 8 gigs of RAM, which seems a little lowish, in compared to like what you get in a gaming PC. But when you consider that this is a single-purpose gaming machine, 8 gigs of RAM is actually a fair amount of overhead because it's not going to be running a browser and all the other things that your operating system, email, and etc. have cooking maybe at the same time you're gaming. It's just going to be a dedicated gaming console. So that's that. They're going to do it in a little bit different way than Sony and Xbox have been doing it, right? What Sony and Xbox do is they build the console from the ground up and they ship it out to distributors, etc. What Valve is talking about doing is having a spec, right? It's closer to the way that Google makes Android phones, right? Because Google doesn't actually make the phone. Instead, they make a specification and then they let Motorola and Nokia and all these other guys implement the spec for their Android phone. Well, that's what they want to do with this console. They're gonna define what the console should be, what the specs are. Then they're gonna ship it out to Dell, HP, Asus, whoever, to implement the actual console itself. So it's a pretty exciting thing, and it seems like the sort of thing that could happen in the short term, right? When you're responsible for everything from beginning to end, it can take an act of Congress and a company like Microsoft to get a new console out. But if you're just building the spec and then you let the people who are good at making hardware make the hardware, maybe this is going to speed up the rate at which we actually see these things. As for when it's going to be announced, oh, by the way, I should have mentioned, it's going to be capable of using the Steam thing. They're going to call it a Steam box, is what I'm hearing. And it's going to be capable of downloading games, which for me is great news, right? I love the idea of downloading a game and then playing it right on the spot and no longer going out to GameStop. Although, if I was a GameStop or a GameStop manager or stockholder or whatever, I would be scared. But this day is coming, right? I think that their model is as outdated as Blockbuster's model is, and the streaming guys just put them under. And I think that the internet downloading, the idea of going out to a store and buying software is going to fade away, and this is going to be one of the major steps that makes that happen. So exciting stuff for us as customers, exciting stuff for a game developer who, as customers, I guess we don't like the idea that used games goes away. But seriously, what are you getting? $6 for the $60 game you bought a year earlier. To me, it's not a really big loss, but maybe you feel differently. And then the fact that they're just implementing a spec is a pretty exciting thing to me as well. So as far as timeline, that's a big deal, right? We're hoping, right, guys like me who are itching for a new console are hoping that it gets announced at the Game Developers Conference, which is just like a week away, or 2 days away. I think it starts on the 5th, March 5th. And that'd be really cool. But there's a fair amount of level-headed people who are saying, no, they're not going to really announce this thing until E3, which is later this year. So, yeah, that's the big news. The big news is that there may be another player in the console market. I've been wondering what operating system it's going to run, right? I've been just sort of, scratching my own head thinking about this. I searched around Google, etc. I didn't find any news on it. Part of me thinks that it could be Linux, right? Because Linux does a pretty good job of running on an underpowered machine, which is what consoles become a year or two after their release compared to cutting-edge gaming machines. and it's also free, so it's not going to add to the cost of what the console would be. On the other hand, Valve is used to working with Windows, right? I'm told that Windows development for PC gaming and for Xbox gaming is really similar, which explains why so many Xbox games, even console exclusives like Halo, become available on the PC at some point. That they just have so much in common, that the APIs and that the Xbox OS was built on an older version of Windows. Anyway, so part of me thinks that there's a lot of sort of R&D and expertise within Valve that would make them inclined to have a Windows-like operating system on their new console. And part of me thinks that, it makes a lot of sense to put it on something like Linux just to keep the costs low. So we'll see how that works out. It's pretty exciting news, though. A new console in the game here. So previously, it's just been Xbox and PS3, and then Wii, if you count that. But there's another thing. I keep going on. There's another thing there too. It's the biometrics, right? So Valve was talking about, they use biometrics in their QA process, right? They sit there and they monitor how much people are sweating, how tense they get, what their pulse rate is, and how they're reacting to different parts of the games. And I saw this Valve spokesman talk about it, and it was really cool because he's like, we can do this, and we can do it in ways that aren't stupid. And I found that language both refreshing and awesome. Because, when I think it through, things like the Kinect, right? I love a lot of the ideas in Kinect, but then when you look at their application and implementation, they get kind of stupid. They just do, right? You're there, you're waving your hands around, everything gets a little bit silly. Like, I like the dance games, but then I don't like, the menu navigation. Or, oh my gosh, what was that stupid freaking pet your virtual pet thing that the little girl did on the E3 stage? Somehow at Microsoft, ideas go all the way from, initial creation, brainstorming, to the main stage at E3 without triggering anybody's, oh my god, this is freaking ridiculously dumb, alarm bells. But over at Valve, they immediately say, like, whoa, 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 we don't do ridiculously dumb. We don't do insanely stupid. We can do this in ways that won't be that. And it's just like, somebody's a realist there, and I find that pretty refreshing and cool. So it may have some biometric feedbacks. Valve has filed a patent on their controller, which is another indication that this thing is really real. That they filed with the U.S. Patent Office their controller scheme, and that, just implies that it's really going to happen. And I guess it prevents other people from copying the controller and implementing it on their own. So there's your news. It looks like there's going to be another company putting out a console that competes with the Xbox and the PS whatever is current at the time that it comes out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new around here and you enjoyed the video, you can click on subscribe in the top right and see what else I have coming our way. If you're not new around here, you can click on like, because everybody likes likes. 2 videos you may have missed. The top one is dealing with the loss of a pet. It's kind of a more personal one from me to a friend of mine who just went through this. And the bottom one is new downloadable content coming to Modern Warfare 3. It's actually a 2-video series because I made a mistake, but you can check that out and enjoy the videos. Have a good day. Oh, surprise video on the right, links in the description, yada yada yada.